Greetings and welcome to Life is an Art, so learn how to live. My name is Fernando Alvarez, and my vision is to help you experience a more fulfilling, joyful, and empowering life. In this episode, please allow me to share with you my insights on systemic thinking and living systemically and its importance in adding value to your life, the people around you, and the world at large. Living systemically is not a new concept. Authors, experts, scholars, and researchers such as Peter Senge, Donella Meadows, Jorgen Randers, William W. Behrens III, J. Richardson, J. Bruckmann, and J. Robinson, among others, have written about this topic. One of the great problems that modern humanity faces is that its way of living, its way of life, is built on a model and mindset that is not systemic. So, what does it mean to live systemically? Living systemically means to understand and implement attitudes, behaviors, and habits underpinned by a systemic mindset. This mindset is founded on the basis that a system is made up of elements that are interconnected and interdependent. This means that the elements in a system, in our case, we humans, our society, we make decisions or take actions that may have a rapid effect on the immediate surroundings and humans in them, or the actions may have a delayed effect further in time in the immediate surroundings or in other geographical spaces that are further away. One of the greatest challenges we face as a society is that when our behaviors, actions, and decisions have a delayed effect, we have a very difficult way of knowing in the present the exact consequences in the future, who these consequences will affect, and where these consequences will take place. One important point to keep in mind is that a system has a main goal or function, and all of its components, elements or subsystems, need to function in a coordinated manner to fulfill the goal of the system. Thus, the individual goals of the elements or subsystems within the main system cannot override the goal of this main system. If this happens, the main system will suffer and may collapse due to its unsustainability. Also, the specific goal of one element in the system cannot be more important than the specific goal of another element in the same system. If this occurs, the failure of one element will also weaken or cause the collapse of the main system. Hence, all the elements or subsystems within the main system need to collaborate in perfect harmony to serve the goal of the main system. To achieve this balance, all the elements within the main system must rely upon a series of appropriate feedback loops that allow for the effective flow of information. This timely flow of information, with its inherent delays, allows the specific elements within the main system to work in coordination to serve the goal or function of the main system therein. Following are some examples of non-systemic behaviors that undermine or weaken different systems. For example, Larry, in his early 30s, is married to Julie, and they have a little girl, 6 years of age, named Susan. He is the head manager at a local supermarket, and Julie is a housewife. She got laid off 6 months ago due to cutbacks in the company she worked at as a marketing researcher. Thus, Larry's family only counts on his salary for a living. Unfortunately, Larry and Julie got careless and started not being very organized in how they spent their money, and each one did not know what the other was spending money on or how much. Larry liked to pamper himself often and bought clothes, accessories, and other items that were not necessary. And in the same way, Julie spoiled herself by going too often to the beauty salon, getting massages, and buying jewelry that she did not really need. Both Larry and Julie got immediate pleasure by indulging themselves in the things they liked to do and have. However, by fulfilling their immediate desires, they started undermining their ability to provide for the real important things their family needed. Soon, they realized they did not have enough money to pay for some of their basic monthly expenses. Also, they were having difficulties meeting other miscellaneous needs such as out-of-pocket costs for emergency doctor's appointments, house maintenance repairs, and Susan's ballet lessons. Even though the above example about Larry's family situation may sound silly and simplistic, it clearly illustrates what happens when the goal of the main system is undermined by the goals of the individual elements of the system. Larry's family, as a whole, is the main system, and it is made up of individual elements, Larry, Julie, and Susan. All the elements in Larry's family are interconnected and interdependent, and they must collaborate in harmony to meet the main function of the family. Now, at its core, we can agree that the main function of any family is to guarantee its well-being, safety, happiness, and success. Unfortunately, when Larry and Julie focus on their own individual desires, their lack of communication and uncoordinated actions and decisions in how they spend their money do not take into account the principal function of the family, which is the main system, repercussions happen. And these, of course, are negative. Thus, the family's well-being, happiness, and overall success are jeopardized. The family's well-being may not be undermined immediately as Larry and Julie make unwise decisions, but it will be compromised in the very near future and, of course, the long term. Now, as a result, the proper functioning of the family becomes unsustainable if Larry and Julie continue acting in a way that ignores the main function of the family, which is its well-being. Unfortunately, Larry's and Julie's incapability of seeing how their present actions have a consequence at a future time is a key issue faced by so many humans as they behave within a system. That is why, when the elements in a system do not behave in a way that keeps the function of the main system a priority, the system is weakened and it may collapse due to its unsustainability. The human body. The human body is a perfect natural system. It is made up of subsystems, circulatory, respiratory, digestive, endocrine, etc. And their principal function is to work collaboratively and interdependently to keep the main system, the body, alive. Staying alive is the main function. Thus, the goal of each subsystem in the human body cannot take priority over the main goal of the human body, which is to stay alive. That is why the subsystems in the body work in perfect communication and coordination, thanks to effective feedback loops that keep all subsystems in check and working properly. Natural systems have the quality of self-correcting and maintaining their sustainability. The problem arises when humans intervene. Now, even though the human body is a perfect system, its proper functioning and sustainability are affected either in a positive or negative way by human behavior, actions, and decisions. Thus, we humans need to behave, act, and make decisions with a systemic mindset to help guarantee the sustainability of any system we interact with on a daily basis. For example, in the case of the human body, each of us needs to implement habits, behaviors, actions, and decisions that do not undermine the body's main function. As stated before, the function of the human body is to maintain homeostasis. This is a strong balance among all the interconnected and interdependent elements that exist in the body to support all its physiological functions. In other words, to stay alive. Sadly, most humans, in regard to their health, have habits, take actions, and make decisions in the present and on a daily basis that undermine the future sustainability of homeostasis in their bodies. Thus, as we see every day, the general well-being and health of most humans is poor and their bodies ultimately fail due to illness. These diseases or ailments are caused by the consistent damage to the vital physiological processes that promote homeostasis. This damage is caused by the unhealthy habits that most people have in regard to their health. Now, these unhealthy habits are not only physical, but they're psychological, mental, spiritual, etc. For example, Mark is 22 years old, and he is a business undergraduate student at a competitive university in Texas. Even though he's very good academically, Mark is not a systemic thinker in regard to his health. Recently, Mark started going to parties a lot and going to bed late from Thursday to Saturday. These are his party days. Also, from Sunday to Wednesday, he stays up late studying and has early morning classes. This lack of sleep takes its toll on his body and its ability to recuperate and rest. Furthermore, Mark started drinking alcohol and smoking, especially when he hangs out with friends. This compromises his heart, lungs, and liver. Moreover, he has not been exercising as he used to, and has also been eating a lot of junk food and drinking too many soft drinks throughout the week. Mark says that these habits, not necessarily studying late, give him immediate pleasure and make him happy. He loves to party until late at night. He loves to drink, smoke, eat junk food because all these things give him immediate pleasure, immediate gratification. With respect to exercising, Mark says he does not have the time or the energy. Thus, he is satisfying his immediate urges and whims. Immediate gratification is a priority for him. Now, unfortunately, by not living systemically, Mark does not see in the present how his short-sighted habits will cause his body, which is a system, to eventually collapse. Mark lacks the foresight to realize that his unhealthy habits, even though they do not have a negative impact in the present or immediate future in regard to his health, they will have detrimental consequences at a later point in time. Furthermore, not only will his health be affected, but having poor health will also affect his ability to work and study, his ability to enjoy himself, his ability for financial security, and will also affect the peace of mind of his loved ones. Thus, Mark is compromising the true valuable things in his life due to satisfying his immediate desires and whims. Living systemically is a way of life, of course. It should not be limited to certain things only. It must be implemented in everything we do. This systemic mindset needs to be put into practice in regard to our personal goals, at work, in our relationships with loved ones, friends, and co-workers, in our health habits, in the way we socialize, in how we decide to spend our leisure time, and in the way we think. Every time we interact with a system or within a system, we must have a clear understanding that any action, behavior, or decision we carry forth not only may have immediate consequences, but it may have repercussions further in the future affecting other people and, of course, other places. Now, living systemically is not easy. Of course, it is easier said than done because we live in a society that basically ignores the sustainability of systems. We usually take actions and make decisions about a specific element within a system without taking into account that the element we're taking action upon is interconnected and interdependent to other elements in the system. Thus, our actions and decisions not only affect the element we're taking action upon, but they have an effect on other elements within the system in the immediate future or much further into the future. Hence, our actions and decisions make future changes in the behavior of the system, and these changes in the system behavior cannot be experienced or foreseen at the moment we take actions or make decisions in our minds if our mindset is not systemic. As mentioned previously, living systemically is not easy. It's quite challenging. Through enculturation, which means one's values, beliefs, and paradigms developed through upbringing, schooling, work, socialization, and general life experiences, we as a society have developed a non-systemic way of living. We live in a social system whose foundation is mainly influenced by a mindset of producing more for unlimited financial gains and consuming more products and services to satisfy our needs, wishes, desires, and every whim as possible. And the sad thing is, so many of the things, products and services we consume, we do not even need. We're a society, of course, of mass consumption. Unfortunately, the reality is that all the physical input necessary for production and consumption, comes from a finite planet with limited physical resources. Moreover, all the physical output, physical waste and pollution, is dumped on a planet that has a limited capacity of absorption. Thus, with our current technology and know-how in our finite planet, there is a limit to growth. Furthermore, living systemically is difficult because our current educational system in general does not teach, as part of the curriculum, about systems or systemic thinking. Changing the social mindset takes many years, and education is the most effective way to approach this issue. Also, this educational process needs to start from the early years, of course, elementary education, all the way to the last year of high school and through the university. This systemic mindset needs to be ingrained as part of our culture, and education is crucial. One may think that the true problem is the non-systemic mindset of our governmental, corporate, community, and family leaders. However, where do all these leaders come from? Well, they come from an educational system that does not form students in systems of systemic thinking. Thus, as we can see, it is a systemic problem. The issue must be tackled at its core, our educational system. If our educational system changes in a positive way at a global level, the new generations, our future citizens and leaders, will have the appropriate systemic mindset that will allow them to live systemically in much more aspects of their lives. This would be possible because systems thinking would be part of their enculturation process. If we do not make the appropriate changes in education, government, business, and society in general at a global level on our own, and we have to be very intentional about this, but if we don't do it, then the future consequences on our planet and everyday lives will force us to change in a more painful, dramatic, and drastic way. So basically what we're saying is that if we don't change, the reality, the planet, is going to force us to change. And it's going to be very painful, extremely painful, because our foundation is built on a society that just consumes. Now, if you wish to have a more in-depth understanding about systems, thinking, and the limits to growth, I extremely recommend you to read the following books. It's called Thinking in Systems by Donella Meadows and Limits to Growth by Donella Meadows, Jorgen Randers, and Dennis Meadows. Now, in episode 8, I will share with you my insights on how much humans can be in complete control of being joyful. And this is such a fundamental topic because so many people feel disempowered because they truly believe that their ability to be blissful and optimistic is out of their hands. They believe that it is normal for external circumstances and other people's actions to determine how they feel inside. Now, with such a self-defeating and disempowering belief system, external circumstances do actually determine the mood, feelings, and general well-being of so many humans. However, it does not have to be this way. Believe it or not, we can be in complete control. I hope you enjoyed this episode 7 about systemic thinking, and I hope a lot of the ideas and insights here add value to your life, your thinking, your habits, your routines, your rituals every day. And remember, I truly believe the core, the solution is education from the very beginning. But for now, as I always say, remember, life is an art, so learn how to live. I will see you next time. Thank you for listening.